Guys, I'm really excited about this gym tour. This is the one that's like, when I had the idea for the hardcore home gym series, this is the one that's like, they're all gonna be based off. This is setting the standard for hardcore. This is James Fuller, Strongman Archeology on Instagram, and he's the one that's bringing old school lifts and old physical culture back to the present. And the area that he trains in, if you follow him online, it's a marvel of history. It is basically a strength and physical culture museum, and we're just gonna call it the Stumps and Rust Gym because I don't know what else. You don't have a name for it, but every single thing here is just like what is this?
That's my loading pin. But yeah, it's a bowling pin with a dumbbell handle put through it.
A lot of the things here you did have made.
Yes.
Specifically like a machinist or a welder, but then some of the stuff is just like over 100 years old.
Oh yeah.
Why don't we start with your Stump collection? Yeah. I mean,
yeah, this is for when I'm doing pullover and presses, seated bent presses, because the way you're going to do a seated bent press with the hips lower versus doing it with the hips higher. When you're on the higher stump, you tend to come up off the stump as you get rotated around.
Ugh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dude, it's a great stretch though.
It is.
Honestly, like.
I should make sure to spot him because I don't want him to.
A spotter.
I don't want him to get hurt.
Spotter.
Come on now.
Well, you know, you say that funnily, but some of the stuff here, man, is heavy.
Health exercise and home gymnastics.
Without the use of appliances. The thing that gets me is like, you got influencers taking pictures of all the exercises they're gonna put in their apps or their like, you know, their training programs. What was this guy doing? He's doing the same thing, only like 120 years ago.
Yeah, this is how to get strong and how to stay so.
Emerson says, Plato is philosophy and philosophy Plato. At once the glory and the shame of mankind. They really did look at like building the physical body as like an actual like endeavor that's just beyond vanity like that, you know?
George Hackenschmidt, right? The hack lift, pull over and press. He was a world champion weightlifter and a world champion wrestler.
Yeah.
He was a philosopher. He wrote books on philosophy. How to Live is philosophy and training, just like that one.
Give him a little bit of flattery. You look him online, he's way bigger in person, guys. Like James over here is stacked as fuck, man. He's hiding it all. Look at your pancakes. This is deceivingly, really humbling. Oh my God! That's like 300 something pounds. It's definitely over 300. So these are pancake plates.
Milo 50-pound pancake plates. And at the time, they were the biggest plates you could get here in the United States.
That is not easy to hold. I understand now why guys back then had such good grip strength, because they had to deal with crap like this.
That's 100 pounds. Hampton, yep, Hampton, 100-pound plates. Oh, look at you.
I failed this off camera for like several minutes.
Sandbagging 101. Yep.
Oh, chocolate really helps.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, wait, you're going under. Whoa. You said this is one of the best barbells.
For power bars.
Okay, what is it?
It's a 1980s York power bar. It has probably one of the longest center knurlings you'll ever have. So it gives you a lot of grip on squats for your back. I do a lot of one-hand deadlifts, so I've done on this bar 411 or 412. It gives you a lot of room for your hand to grip for one hand.
One of my oldest barbells is like 25 years old, and it's the one I learned to deadlift with. I still have it in my gym. It just has a nice sound. Yeah. Like when you move it, and it has a voice. It's almost like it has its own voice.
Yeah, when you start loading up deep dish plates, they resonate.
Yeah, this one has a nice sound. This, I see you lifting on plywood a lot.
These two pieces used to be one.
Yeah.
Until it broke. It came from when we put that door in. It's from the foundation of the building.
Probably a microcosm of how a lot of the strength culture developed is people are just like, what do you have lying around? That, grab it. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, your plywood, it's from a door.
What's funny is it's actually high tech because back in the day, you know, weightlifting shoes are one piece.
Yeah.
It's called a crepe sole. It came because this was too high tech and expensive. Your training area didn't have controlled central air, so they couldn't afford the plywood, so they would use 2x4s for platforms, which with all the humidity, changes in temperature, would curl up. So guys were catching the heels on their boots and on their shoes and they started making the built-in heel that goes down to the shoe. And that's where the current design of the weightlifting shoe comes from.
I don't know even where to begin. These are the weight plates that they use to calibrate scales, right?
Correct.
All right.
And that's where kettlebells came from.
No way, really?
Yes.
I thought kettlebells came from Russia.
Well, they would have to weigh their grain, agricultural scales. They would need something to put on there. And it was shaped very similar to that. And so while everyone's waiting, they'd play and challenge each other with the weights.
What else does this shape lend itself to in terms of exercise?
So if you want to do some swings, an interesting variation that you can do with these because they're flat.
Oh, he's cross-armed. Interesting. You know, I'm going to have to ask, why do you cross your arms?
It actually hits the upper back and delts differently. Hermann Goiner from Germany could do a cross-hand snatch with 105 kilos, 231 pounds.
Kind of. Whoa, and then they come undone.
Right. So it makes you focus.
Yeah. How much are those? How much are
50s.
Those? Yeah, that feels way different than a 50-pound dumbbell. Do they have names all the way?
Yes, this is Brutus.
Brutus. And Brutus is 100 and what?
105 and a half.
All right, and probably older than that too, but that's weight.
2 3/4 inch thick handle. And he's gonna hammer curl it looks like.
Hammer curl.
There you go.
The Anvil, this is, how much does this weigh?
That's 102 and a half. That's a Trenton, 102 and a half pound Anvil.
Where does Trenton come from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
How old is he?
Oh, World War I era.
I love the way this feels more than some of the replicated Anvil attachments.
Yeah.
That feels awesome.
For me, it's the mentality of it. Either I can lift that or I can't. I can't lighten it. I'm not saying all of our weight training should be that, but it's nice having pieces that it is what it is.
There's a lot of guys that work only in increments of like 45 and 25 pounds. Yeah. And it's like, if you can't make a jump, then you don't need to do that. You need to stop micro-loading all the way through. For acrobatics, there's no in between a backflip and a double backflip. So
there is, but it's not pretty.
So it's the same here. It's like either you can't or you can't. So how do you can? Grip tools I've never seen before. This is just a caster wheel from an old cart from, I guess, World War I. And it is like the perfect blend of a rolling grip handle and like a pinch grip.
So you put a loading pin here.
Yeah.
It just gives you some variety.
And who knew? They make caster wheels of different sizes. Some of the stuff is just like, what the is this?
This is a heavy lift bar. This is 4140 high carbon, cold rolled, round stock. It's 1 15/16 so that I can easily put Olympic plates on there. Whoa. So you can do hip lifts, hand and thigh lifts, neck lifts, but you attach your belt here.
Yeah.
With a lifting belt. This is only 300 pounds. We can load it up to a ton if you want.
Look how long the loading sleeve is, guys. I love the Globe dumbbell. It's interesting because Globe dumbbells are hard to find, to buy, and they're usually expensive, and
This was not. I was the only guy that came and called about it, and the guy that owned it was the technical director for the movie The Perfect Storm.
Oh. It looks so good. Look how beautiful that is. The interesting thing about Globe dumbbells is the loading. Mm-hmm. They're shot loaded, and you don't have to use like some sort of special material. It could just be sand.
Yep.
Sealed, so it doesn't have to get wet and clumpy. Right. But when you're moving in terms of increments and weights, what you said was even like a pound and a quarter increment on both sides, it can be a lot for some people. Yeah. And this, you can literally like progressively move up like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of sand. So you can kind of dial it in exactly. So this is the other end of the spectrum of moving only in 45s and 25s. If you can lift it, you can't. Well, here you can kind of move things around in terms of grains of sand.
Arthur Saxon, one of the great old-time strongmen, he got to use some of the first plate-loaded sets in like 1905. And he mentioned it twice in his book because that's how much it impressed him. It had more spring than lifting on a Globe barbell. You also think that no matter how much this weighs, no matter how much I fill it, the weight is here. We fill this up, it's going to go like this. When you're an Olympic lifter, you're going to take advantage of that spin.
Yeah.
With this, you're going to pick it and let it spin in your hands.
Okay.
And you better catch it right or you're going to break a wrist. All right.
Oh, I felt the left one.
These are about
the left globe was like still kind of moving around there.
These are about the same weight.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
Try it again.
It just stops. See, that's the thing. Like when you do this, when you get here, there's no surprise.
Yeah.
When I did that one, I was like, oh, it's moving.
Yeah.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. Sam, look behind you. The shed is full of...
Shed is next.
The shed is full of rust that's worth more than gold. There's your Thomas Inch.
Replica, yeah.
Replica.
Yeah.
And there's something even bigger than a Thomas Inch in that shed.
So that's Ravishing Rick Rude.
All right. That's a good feel. But he also had standard shot puts, machined, so you can kind of incrementally like add weight to those old dumbbells. Pretty cool, huh? It looks a little weird, but I think it's brilliant.
There were some designs back then that allowed you to either add another globe or to add plates onto the end of your globe.
There he is.
I call it my Strongman rattle, but the official name is Haystacks Calhoun.
And what can you load this guy up to?
Somewhere over 300 pounds.
So this is 190 pounds?
Yeah.
Now the handle is a little thinner, so it's going to be easier than some of the Thomas Inch dumbbell guys that you see online lifting that. So this isn't as much a grip challenge, but it does look freaking cool, doesn't it? That's the inch?
Yeah, that's the inch replica, right?
Here, watch me fail it again. I always get thrown into YouTube videos where the Thomas Inch just appears out of nowhere and everyone wants to do it. It's like, okay, here we go. No. Yeah. It's just the way it always works out. I got to actually train to get stronger on this. Can you please explain the plywood thing?
I like to use different bars. I like to use different factors in my training. What gives me the ability to generate a lot of force versus what makes it harder. So I will sometimes lift on this pallet because it sinks, it's got give. So it's going to absorb my energy because I'm pushing down and it's giving away, so some of that energy gets dissipated. Whereas if I train in the driveway, that's harder. I get more force out of each push versus what you were saying about then if I go to the asphalt versus then going to concrete.
Yeah.
So how much give the surfaces have makes a huge difference.
You could see the flex of the plywood when he lifts, so it kind of gives a little bit. Did you just pick that up like that?
Yeah.
That's the hub lift. Oh!
Now we're gonna watch Juji do it on his first try. Oh, sorry folks, he only cleaned it his first try, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what you wanted though, right?
Yeah.
So you got one of the rarest plates that probably exist right here, which they probably have what, like 2 pair?
No, they had a few. You know Weider, the guy that sponsored Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's the reason why we even know who he is. Started the IFBB, the International Federation of Bodybuilders, in 1946. He started his magazine empire with Physical Culture in 1940. And this is his second attempt trying to get some wedge his way into the weightlifting world, which was very closed off. There really wasn't a bodybuilding world. Well, he was trying to create a niche, a place for him to be. He was trying to get some of that Olympic lifting cheddar, so to speak. This is his second try, and he bought, unfortunately, the steel he used for the bars was hot rolled steel instead of cold rolled steel. So this Olympic set of his only got advertised twice before it disappeared because all the bars bent because they weren't strong enough to handle the weight. The person he had contacted out to do this was Jackson Barbell out of Springfield, New Jersey, and that's why this thing is machined. You would not believe this is a 1954 plate. It's lathed in here, it's lathed on the sides, it's lathed on the back.
And if you look really closely, it looks like it's 3D printed.
Yeah.
The lines look like 3D printing lines.
Because Joe didn't make his money because his bars bent, guess who he didn't pay? Andy Jackson.
Yeah.
So guess what Andy Jackson said? I'm going to get my money one way or the other. And he took the mold, he put wax in the mold, and if you folks could feel this, it's lumpy because that's where the wax, to get rid of the Weider name, and that way Andy was able to sell these plates and make back some of his investment on the molds.
What does this look like? It looks like a 45-pound plate, right? It's not. It doesn't even have the weight on there.
No, they didn't back then.
Did you say this was a practical joke?
This was a practical joke. This is a York Deep Dish 75. There's only about 6-7 pairs known.
So they made them so that someone thought they were weaker than they were.
Yes, it's in one of Harry Paschal's books. He did all the illustrations for Strength and Health magazine. So according to him, back in 1940, there was a lifter that would come into the gym at York. York Barbell had their gym where the Olympic team trained, because York Barbell, I think, sponsored the Olympic team for like half a century.
Yeah.
So the guy would come in every day, and it'd always be the barbell loaded with 45s on the bar. They said, well, we'll get him because I think he must have been annoying them or something. So instead of 135, it's now 195. So he came in, couldn't even get it halfway, put it down, went home.
I just think they had a sense of humor, but also this is a great way to screw with people if they're used to doing hub lifts, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But this plate's really rare. I looked it up online, guys. It's like impossible to find, and when you find it, you look at a price, you're like, when we're talking about this is, you train with them.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So it's not like they're behind a glass and you look at them and you know, it's like, I guess that you probably found them. They kind of already look like this. What more damage can you possibly do?
This is a repaired one, but this basically looks like that 75.
Yeah.
This is the 45. They modeled it after to try to trick the guy.
So this is the 45?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's totally, you could probably hub lift that.
It kind of freaks with my mind because I picked it up over there and I was thinking for a second, James, I was like, I wonder if he's pranking me and this is actually 45 and he's making this whole story up.
No, yeah.
I can see how that would fool someone.
They didn't last long because they tended to break.
Oh.
And part of that was because of a training style of the 1930s by Joseph Curtis Heiss or J.C. Heiss.
Yeah.
It was called the hopper deadlift, and they would set up 2x4s on each side, and they set them up across so that they'd have a bounce to them, kind of like these pallets. So the idea was when you deadlift it, you would deadlift it normally, and pretending I'm holding a barbell, but basically you're gonna.
It's kind of like touch and go.
Yeah, but they were bouncing it off the wood.
Yeah.
That was set up to bounce like this is. Very similar setup.
It's like plyo floor.
And so it allowed them to go up 100 pounds over their normal weight.
35-pound plates have kind of fallen out of favor. Now,
do you know why?
Because math?
To the manufacturer? Well, we already make 25s and 10s. We'll just send a 25 and a 10, an extra 10. Why do we need to make 35s and have a mole? So, like York Barbell went back and forth over the decades. Your set would come with an extra 25 and a 10, or it came with a 35. It would just go back and forth because they're like, it doesn't justify having a different mold for a denomination you're already going to have. So I was 25 years in, and I'd never seen bumper plates for sale, not even used. So it wasn't until CrossFit, because now you can look at someone with some black bumpers on the bar, and you don't know if it's 315 or 205.
That's why I got black bumpers as my first weight set. The first piece of exercise equipment I ever bought was a set of bumper plates that was like 540 pounds, high 93 durometer, and they were from Pindlay. And I got them black instead of the colors.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't lie about what weight I'm using. I never do that. I never have done that. As a little side topic, the chair split video I did that made me go viral back like in 2015, I used 2 rubber crumb plate tins on each side. So it's 100 pounds. In the original video, I put 100 pounds. And then over the years, the message got lost, and there's so many people that have come up to me and be like, dude, the split's with 225. And that is just like, I stopped correcting them after a while. Holy shit! Did you just, oh, okay, I thought they were, I thought he had just grabbed them both. First, I thought they were 45s because they're blue, and second, I thought he had the smooth side out on both sides and just picked them both up. I was like, what the fuck? This is an interesting plate. This is made by Hampton again?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Aluminum, obviously.
Oh, wow, but it doesn't look aluminum.
Right.
That's so light. It's like a metal fake plate. Sam, step into the shed, come on.
Dan Lurie 100-pound plates. I would say 1960s.
Okay, 60s. Oh. I do wonder if rust is an advantage. Like, it gives you a little bit of a...
It can be, yes.
Gives you a little
and I
bit.
do pick parts of plates that are easier and harder because of the rust or no rust.
Dan Lurie made, apparently, these 25s, a whole set. These are standard. Now, a standard set looks like this. It's what you can usually buy at like a Dick's Sporting Goods or a common, like, it's, you know, it's what most people today consider cheap. But back then, this is much more common because it was still in circulation, right?
And it was before we had weight sets. We were already making this a good 10, 15 years before we started making Olympic weight sets.
Olympic set with the sleeves, with the ball bearings, they move,
Right.
which changes what happens with the weight when you move it around in space. This doesn't. It's locked. Yeah, it's been a while.
See how they don't want to move.
Especially, well, when you
Look at the 25. Watch, as you curl, that 25 doesn't want to move.
especially when you lock it down with an actual star collar. You know, then it's like really fixed in place. There's so much like plates back here, but we haven't even started talking about the barbell selection. You do actually have barbells. Yeah, I mean, it's not just rocks and stumps and stuff. There's barbells over here.
So I bought a trap bar, and I was
You do have a trap bar.
I was very upset with its design. Took a barbell from my first weight set. That's how mad I was. My first weight set.
Yeah.
I cannibalized, and I had them make it accept rotating sleeves because I didn't want this solid. I'd already dealt with something that didn't rotate. $250 to get it. Cost me $220 to modify it. Almost doubled my price. But it's great for bent rows. It's great for jerks. It's great for squat thrust.
The trap bar has been modified, and the modification cost
almost as much as the bar itself.
Almost as much as the barbell itself. But
so it was $250 bought new, $225 with the modification added.
But you know, sometimes those are the things that you like the most. That
I'll never sell it.
Exactly. I had a friend make me, for what I think is the only one that exists, a log jack. You know, like a deadlift jack?
Yeah.
But it jacks up a strongman log. And it's really big and awkward and crazy looking, but that's what it does. What the heck is that? The barbell.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a squat stand. I will chalk it up, and I'll do hub lifts with it. Go ahead, grab it. See how sloped that is?
Yeah. Did you just pick that up?
Yeah, I try not to use that little indent if I can, but if you got it,
there's no way you can do it without using the indent.
Well,
the barbell, yeah.
Well, this is the same model as the first 400-pound clean and jerk was done on. Who cares? Well, if we take a standard barbell, Jack LaLanne Weider one.
Wow, that's a throwback.
They're both 7 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
But the standard is not 7 feet.
This is a standard?
A standard is taller.
Yeah, it is. And these are closer.
So why did they go from this to this?
You're leaning on a rack.
This would not fit power racks when they started making power racks. So they had to make them a few inches longer. So they went from 84 inches to 87 because to make it fit, you need a longer bar. And that's the only reason why bars are the length they are today. But look at the difference. So I'm losing, if I do this, I'm losing about a hand width.
That can affect your snatch too.
So do you want to tell me why maybe it took a while for a squat snatch to catch on instead of a split snatch?
Because yeah.
If you go to a longer bar, you've got more room to get under for a squat.
How much over the course of like all the time you've done this, have you seen lifters like start to like criticize people for using certain pieces of equipment because they know it's easier?
It's definitely people trying to say, well, it's because you're, well, they argue about a monolift. Is a monolift cheating or not?
Right, yeah, I've seen that one.
You know, is straps cheating or not? It's like, well, you can say it's cheating, or you can say I keep records for my monolifts squats and I keep records for when I walk the bar out squats.
Yeah.
You can do both. Everyone can live together. It's okay, you know. So it's interesting to see the changes in what people want to argue about because none of it is about getting anyone stronger.
So moving back to that bar.
The safety squat bar.
Yeah, so it's the, oh shit, I can't do anymore. Let me help myself up. When did you start to see lifters go, no, wait, this is great for like, you know, like.
I've never seen anyone use it for the way it was intended.
So pretty much as soon as he invented it, he's like, nope, wrong purpose, but great product. It's gonna move.
Basically, shirted benching came around.
Yeah.
Guys' shoulders are too sore to hold a bar for training the squat. Doesn't hurt because I can put this on and just do this.
Yeah.
So it started, and it doesn't bother me. I think it's too bad that people don't know they have an option of training squats. Because to me, in 40 years of training, that's probably one of the greatest inventions that is legit. Got it because the guy that sold it to me was using it backwards and it was hurting his neck.
Sam, come here.
Let me do this.
Do you like baseball?
Oh. So these are Ben 100-pound plates.
Wow.
So those 45s?
Yeah.
That's what's on the bar out there.
Ben. B-E-N.
Yeah, they're from Canada.
Looks like you have some disassembled barbells you're just using as kind of ways to roll them around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that around here. You got like a bunch of them that are like that. That's your storage.
These are probably the hardest ones for me to lift. This is just a Keller Foundry. I think this one weighs about 104. It really doesn't fit both sides of my hand well.
Ooh. Yeah! Keller Foundry Company from Knoxville.
Tennessee, baby.
Jeez. Oh!
Gonna show me up in my house.
I'm not too bad at grip strength.
No, he's not. Now
I just always getting videos of people who are stronger than me in it. That's the thing. Go on. Yeah!
So if you've ever seen the videos of pictures of Arnold and Franco at Muscle Beach, Bell Foundry Company, those are the 45s you see in the pictures. This is what I call my Softbell. So it's a softball I had drilled through at the machine shop again. They get a kick out of me.
Softball plus barbell equals softbell.
Yep.
Nice.
There you go. There you go. Quickly collars.
What do you think, guys? I know
That's
exactly what these are. We started making them again. Back in 2000 was when I started lifting, like the year 2000. The gym I worked at for like 7 years, my first gym, this is all they had. They had like 12 pairs of these around the whole gym. So it's like, I didn't even know that this was not normal.
Yeah.
When that gym closed down, I could not find them again. Yeah. I only had my one pair that I took, and I'm like, these things are great. They're the best.
I can't believe more gyms don't have them.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, there you go.
There?
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Oh, it's a finger lift though. What made you want to do that?
Mastery of Hand Strength by John Brookfield.
Yeah.
Talked about Joe Otarski had taken a softball and driven a big like 60 penny spike and bent it into a hook so he could put weight on it like a loading pin. And I said, well, geez, why don't I just make it into a dumbbell, but I'll make it light enough that I can do one-hand snatches with, or, you know, it's really fun. So it is a ball, so we got to play catch. Make sure you catch it overhand, okay?
Overhand?
Yeah. Okay. So you know those iconic pictures of Gold's Gym back in the early days? With
the 70s?
Where Franco and Arnold are deadlifting and there's a dog on the side? If you look on the bar.
Where does all this come from? This is like gravity. Like, James's area is like the epicenter, like it just has a gravity, it's like somehow like the universe understands, like if we want to preserve this culture, this stuff just has to get here to stay safe.
This is the rounded edge, it's called. Yeah. A little more rare, but you will see Arnold and Franco training on these and may have actually used these.
Is this what Ed Corney was doing squats to failure with?
Yes.
And there's Jack, it's never ending.
The Godfather, Jack LaLanne.
That's a 50-pound plate,
yes.
Which is also a very strange increment.
Yes, well, it is for Olympic, but not for standard. Standard was always 50s and 75s. This is my favorite 25 ever made. It's a Marcy deep dish 25. I think it's just gorgeous. I just love the design of it.
This one's been out in the rain for a while, or something, because that's what I have some rusty equipment that looks that's like real rust. That's like hardcore, like it's been left in the mud for a while.
And what I do know is that Matty Ferrigno got sued for using his son's name, Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno plate?
So after Matty Ferrigno sued Lou, you now found these plates that only said Ferrigno. So these were, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Why did Lou Ferrigno make plates? Is this the same reason?
Lou Ferrigno didn't. It was his dad. Oh. And he wasn't giving him a cut because his son had become famous because of pumping iron in the Hulk. And I use these for when I need a place to do pull-ups.
Well, those also serve another purpose. Maybe you can grab things with them, right?
Well, they call them hay hooks at the store. We call them pulp hooks.
Yeah.
Because for pulp wood in the wintertime.
There's a part where you just open that door where it's like, think outside gym equipment for finding things to get stronger and do exercises. Here you go. This is an awesome history lesson. I just feel I feel very thankful that I've been able to at least see this stuff, and it just like I just feel like I'm more complete now that I've been able to experience like a piece of culture like this. So thank you very much for the gym tour. This is
thanks for stopping by.
And amazing. Well, we're not done yet. We got to dirty up this shirt with some brown rust.
Okay.
All right.